contract for you if you want to use this for your show, and then that's it. It's not like the old days where Universal is nurturing the talent of Conan O'Brien.
You're telling me the Conan O'Brien show is just an infomercial?
Yes.
Program?
Yes, that's right.
But doesn't that kind of sound like what Sun Studio is now in Memphis?
Well, those studios always did that.
Well, right, but I mean,
rented out to whoever.
Yeah, I guess now, but it's that same idea of the label, to be able to put on there. Oh, it's recorded at Sun Studio.
Yeah.
And there's.
When did the old studio system really start to fall apart? Was it more in was it the 50s or the 60s?
I think during the 60s the cracks began, and then during the 70s things kind of started drifting, and by the 80s I think it had transformed, and now the independent films really kind of got a strong foothold in the industry in the 80s, I believe. Mm-hmm. And now it's just all different.
Yeah.
No, it's just all trash.
Yeah. Not worth nothing.
Just ask us. We all agree.
Any new movies this year that you've seen or heard about that you're interested
Heard
in?
of?
Well, a movie that we just saw, independent movie.
The Impossible.
Yeah, The Impossible, about the tsunami that happened in, 2006?
Well, why would you want to see something like that?
Because we saw a clip.
Because it was $1.
It's $1. No, we were watching either Letterman or Conan.
I think it was Letterman, and they had Naomi Watts, who is in this with Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
Plays her husband. She was on, and she...
They showed a clip.
They showed a clip from it, and it looked just horrific, just...
But extremely effective. It's
yeah,
like, wow.
It was...
I want to see the whole thing here. It's like, a few episodes ago, Dave, we were talking about how there's not a lot of room left in my brain for sad things.
Right.
This is definitely one that I would put in that category. I wanted to see it. It was well done. I'm so glad I saw it, but I'm not sure when it shows up on satellite if I'm going to be revisiting it.
It's hard to watch. It is.
Right.
It's hard to watch.
That's why I asked why we...
Yeah.
It's in that category. It's well done.
It really is.
It's a true story.
Yeah, it really is. Visually,
it's not melodrama. It's a true story. It's a documentary, essentially, except it's a dramatized documentary. They changed the names of the family that's involved. And the family was actually a French family, wasn't it?
I think they were Spanish.
Spanish? Oh, that's right. That's
but
right.
they changed them to
a British
Australian
family.
or British or something like that. And
yeah.
They're just it was really well done.
Yeah, that's what it boils down to.
One of those. It's just we were watching a lot like this.
Any previews that you saw at that movie that
something coming up?
Yeah, that thought might look.
Well, I've talked to you before about this, and you're doubtful about it, but I'm still holding out great hopes for the new Lone Ranger movie that's coming out.
And that's about 30 minutes.
I want to believe it's going to be good. I know you don't seem to be a big Johnny Depp fan.
No.
Oh, I didn't even know that. And
Johnny Depp is playing.
As soon as you said Lone Ranger,
Johnny Depp is not the Lone Ranger, though.
Right, but that was even before I knew he had anything to do with it.
How about why he's
seals
playing
it.
Tonto though? Because Johnny Depp is part Indian.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's whatever he needs to
like
be.
his little finger?
I didn't
a
know
ball
that.
of clay that.
I just saw
personality of a gnat.
This is Johnny Depp. If you're listening, you may want to shut the podcast off right now. But see, and it's like this is this brings up a really good issue in terms of people's movie watching habits. I've never been a person that has turned away from a movie because of who was in it. I hate a lot of actors whose movies, some of which I like very much, and I just say that's just the person that's in this movie. That's how I look at it. Some people can't get around their dislike for a certain personality. Clearly, that's something that you experience. That's fine. If that dictates it. I know you don't care for the Ed Wood movie for a number of reasons. Johnny Depp.
I haven't seen it.
Well, I know you won't see it, though,
yeah,
because you
heard
don't
about
like
it,
what you
like-
read about how they
Right,
were doing
yeah,
it.
yeah.
For me, it's one of my favorite movies. It's not like, oh, but Dave, you've got to go see that movie. No, I accept the fact that artistic tastes are just different, and there's no reconciling them. You know, even if you said to me, hey, you know, Bill, I decided to rent it, I watched it, you're right, it's a great movie. I'm glad that you said that. And I would just go, well, fine, Dave. You know, I didn't want you to do that. You know,
I won't.
I'm just saying.
So,
I know I didn't want. But the reason I said that is because I put that out there. I don't want you to ever think that, you know, if I said that, it's like I'm trying to convince you. Oh, but you got, because a lot of people do that too. Like, oh, but you really should see it. It's so good. No, it's like if you got that kind of a problem with Johnny Depp.
Yeah, Bill Telford thinks he knows everything about movies. You know.
Oh, look at the time again. I wouldn't say that a particular actor in real life would keep me from seeing a movie, but there are just certain actors that it's just like, man, why are you doing movies? You're just not good. And if isn't the whole point, you guys can tell me, isn't the whole point of acting that you're not just the same personality in every single freaking role you're in?
Yeah.
Well, you know, but there's the argument there that, like, in the old studio system, those guys, you're talking about Cary Grant, they were just, maybe that's why you don't like Cary Grant. It's like they were just the same. I don't think
he's a good actor at all. He had one persona. I mean, in my opinion, he was in movies because at the time he was considered very handsome, which I actually don't find him handsome, but I mean, I could see where, okay, like, you know, okay, he's got the right look and the right hair and all this, okay, so I could see why he was a leading man, and he had that kind of, you know, smarmy leadership
some
quality,
people come along at the right time when they fit into a certain.
Yeah, I mean, I just.
You don't think that scene in Bishop's Wife when he's with the little girl and he's talking about the three wise men, that actually touches on some emotion.
No, he's a shyster. That little girl needs to run away from that man. He was probably hitting on her.
Oh,
he was that arrogant.
Dear.
Yeah, he was.
This podcast is taking an ugly turn.
He is an angel going after.
Cary Grant can beat up Johnny Depp.
I can beat up Johnny Depp. Hey, but getting back, wasn't the Lone Ranger supposed to be like a lot younger? Like I was picturing like 25, maybe.
I don't know. Well, he's not.
He's not the Lone Ranger.
He's Tonto.
Oh, I'm sorry, you guys.
He's Tonto.
Oh, right, because he's.
And he's designed his makeup.
Well, the
for this
important
as well.
thing is that
Army
in
Hammer's
this,
playing it.
we have finally made reparations with the Native Americans. This is fucking.
Look, yeah, Johnny Depp. He's an Indian. Look, he's one of you. See?
Yeah, what do you use?
Look, he's.
I don't know anything
Put a
about
feather
that.
on him.
I don't know anything about that. I just want to remember to make this point that back in the day, though, there were very few versatile actors in the movies. The studio system had, it's like you get a few people like Spencer Tracy would play different roles occasionally. Like he usually played the same kind of a serious, blustery guy, but when he wanted to pull out his acting chops, he could be like in Captain's Courageous playing the Puerto Rican guy, the Portuguese guy. And, he could, he was being the old man, the sea. But for the most part, like Clark Gable, John Wayne, anybody in the movies back then, Bob Hope, perfect example, played the same person. That's what the studios, they would look for certain personalities that they could insert into movies. Cary Grant was always complaining that the studios, he made some great dramas, but they only wanted him for light comedy. And he was actually a very good actor. And he did this movie, I can't think of the name of it, but Mel Brooks talks about it, with Ethel Barrymore, where I guess it's supposed to be some really moving acting, some really touching scenes. And the studio, but it didn't make a dime. So, it was all about money. The studios were money machines. They say, hey, this is how it works. We got our system. And so, like now, really, and this didn't come about till maybe the late 40s, when you get people like John Garfield coming into movies, where actual actors are starting to Yeah, well, that's the whole thing with Marlon Brando was. He was like, hey, I'm not part of this whole studio thing. I'm going to play different parts. I think that might be, one of the criticisms of Johnny Depp is like, oh, you're trying to be like what Marlon Brando did. Marlon Brando tried to be in a musical. Then he was playing a Korean guy. And then he was, he wanted to be in all. He was Fletcher Christian in Mutiny on the Bounty, and he wanted to show he could do everything. And I think that's Johnny Depp has that persona that he wants to do everything, and it's not like Brando is deified, but he was also highly criticized for that too. So there's no winning. Some people are going to like it, some people aren't. But what happened because of a Marlon Brando is he opened the door for people that could actually act in the movies and play different roles. And that was all part of kind of the crumbling of the old studio system, actually.
Just mentioning Marlon Brando, I can't stand Marlon. He's one that I saw.
I'm dreaming now of we all go on a double date to see a Marlon Brando, Johnny Depp double feature.
Well, you and Wendy will be happy. Me and Marge will. You know what? I saw a part of On the Waterfront, and I thought, this is Marlon Brando? This is great acting? This is terrible.
I just know The Godfather.
Yeah,
that's all I can
you only
see
know
him
the older
as.
Marlon Brando.
Yeah, so I don't know anything.
See, I like On the Waterfront. I thought he was brilliant in it, I thought. So,
I only saw part of it. Did you see On the Waterfront?
No.
Not missing anything.
But that's a one-time. I watched that once, and I can't watch it again because it's very sad. But there's a whole thing of like, are you acting? Is it live or is it memorized? Are you acting or are you just that personality? It's a blurry. Mm-hmm. It's like who people say, oh, Clark Gable is such a great actor. Yes and no. He was a great presence on the screen. Is that acting? Some would argue, yeah. Others would say, nah. So
that was the whole thing with Marilyn Monroe, to the eternal question: could she act? Could she act or not?
God, no.
And she was.
But you see, I disagree. I think Marilyn Monroe, when given a couple chances, I've seen The Misfits. She's brilliant at it when she was, but in just when she's being the floozy, that it's like there's I don't know what this is.
It's real. It's
Some Like It Hot is my favorite comedy, I think.
Yeah. And again, it's one of those things where it can be very subjective. Like, my dad thought John Wayne was the greatest actor in that ever. And there's sometimes when I see John Wayne in things and I think, he's really, again, he was a whole presence. Right. You look at what he could do well and that what he obviously couldn't do well, but somehow he did it. It's real. It's real subjective.
This was the big debate when I went to the Goodman School of Drama. That was the year that the Best Actor category. It was the three biggies in there were Jon Voight in Midnight Cowboy, balloted against Dustin Hoffman in Midnight Cowboy, and John Wayne in True Grit. And, of course, all the acting students and teachers were like, well, it should be Dustin Hoffman. Of course. And then when John Wayne got it for True Grit, you would have thought, the devil came up and ate the country. It was like, oh, what an abomination. That was not acting. Oh. And, it's like, it was really... It's like, yeah, maybe technically Dustin Hoffman was better as an actor in his portrayal of a different type of character, but John Wayne, it's like he was. I think this was like a lifetime achievement award.
You still have the advantage.
It was like he was finally. He didn't get. I don't know if this might have been the first time he was actually